Hello everyone and welcome to the Shuffle Squad YouTube channel, and today we are live, so while we wait for the top 8 to begin, I will introduce myself and we are going to be doing some housekeeping checks. So the first question that I have for you, so please, someone that is listening to me, can you please confirm that you guys hear me all right and that the music is not too loud? If not, I can make some adjustments because I tend to shout a lot and I want you to hear me just all right. So yeah, I would appreciate that. I would appreciate that so much. And I also need to step away a little bit from the mic. If not, I think that you're going to go deaf. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Elena. I'm part of the teams of the Shuffle Squad as a content creator, and maybe some of you have already watched some of my videos. If not, go and check them because I always try to make them as funny as possible. And today I'm casting my very first European late night series, and the tournament has already, well, the Swiss rounds have already finished, and now we are heading into a very exciting top 8 that we are going to share live with all of you. So let's get into it. Now, finally, apologies for that. That's not going to happen again. But anyways, technology is something fails you in the worst situation. But what we are seeing now is Seishan against Lugia V-Star. You hadn't seen it, but Lugia went first, had been able to send some Archeops to the discard pile, and now is going to pull off the first attack, KOing as Seishan V in the active position. Now, Seishan V, for those of you that don't know or have not been playing the game for some time now, it's a really good early game attacker and has received a V-Star support in Crown Zenith. But I think that now that Lugia has gotten all the resources and everything that they needed already going on, it's going to be difficult for Seishan to come back, especially if we consider that Lugia do not need to attack with 2 pricers and can pull off very easy KOs with things like Yveltal that we see sitting down on the bench, and also amazing Charizard. So, well, let's see how things go. And we see Mew being promoted to the active position, trekking shoes to thin out the deck. Now, the objective of Seishan is going to be none other than returning that KO onto the Lugia and go from there. Now, the problem is that even if Seishan gets the KO on Lugia, which is not going to be an easy feat, then it will need to face Yveltal. And Yveltal, we know that when it has the necessary amount of energies, it can instantly KO anything that it has on the active position. So, yeah, let's see. We see now Seishan V-Star hitting the field. This is one of my favorite cards from Crown Zenith. I don't know if you guys had the opportunity to test it out, but it's actually really solid. And it has a really powerful attack that deals 310 damage, which is more than enough to KO every V-Star in this format, even if they run some defensive elements. So, in the meantime, while we have been analyzing this, we have seen some scoop up nets being played, so to reuse the ability from Mew. The problem is that if Seishan wants to use its attack, then they need to find at least something like Raihan or maybe a manual attachment plus 1 saucer. And I don't know how easy that is looking right now, considering that Seishan's player only has like 3 cards in hand, but one of them is an Ultra Ball, so we might see a Crobat here. Let's see. Yes, that is it, Crobat, to get some additional resources, and I don't think that we have seen a supporter yet, so Raihan might be grabbed at some point. So the chances of Seishan getting the things that they need are not that low. All that is needed is, as I said, the item card to get the energy attached from the discard pile, a way to switch Mew, and that's basically it. But the problem is going to be Yveltal waiting there on the bench, waiting for its moment, and that actually is very, very, very scary. I think that everything would have been different if Tathian had started the game, because it is very possible that they got the first KO. And we also see Samacenta V getting discarded. Samacenta is an amazing revenge killer and can potentially do a lot of damage. Ooh, and we see how Seishan is immediately recognizing that amazing Yveltal was the threat here and has targeted it down with Cross Switcher. So I think this is a very smart move, especially because you don't want to, you cannot risk to lose a Seishan as easy as that. And technically, Lugia should have a difficult time dealing with it. So yeah, we have a switch card, and we are probably going to just see an attack from Yveltal. So very aggressive, but really interesting move from Seishan here. 200 damage, more than enough to KO Yveltal. And then let's see what is going to be promoted. It seems that maybe Lugia, and in case that you're wondering why Dunsparce is sitting there on the bench, is because the Lugia player started with it, but we didn't get to see it. Anyways, so Archeops, the player is considering benching another Lugia, which seems to be the case, uses Vacuum to get rid of the training card, and now he's going all in and maybe doing some maths here to see how many powerful energies Lugia needs to KO Seishan. I think it's enough with just... Oh no, with the 4 of them. Okay. Well, that is like a very loaded Lugia, so to say at least. And then decides to disrupt Seishan even further by using Marnie. So, oof. Now, the thing here is, or the question that I have, is whether Seishan is going to be able to draw the resources that they need to return the KO to Lugia. That's going to be a very, very interesting and key turn from the opponent. And remember that 2 Metal Sorcerers have already been used, so yeah, maybe Raihan would come in handy in this type of situation. We also see that the player here, the active player, is considering attaching a Choice Belt or not, but I think that he's going to save it for the time being and just goes for the KO. So 280 damage. Lugia is very, very scary when it gets all the attack boosts, and that is a very, very key draw from the prize section, from the prize zone. We see how amazing, Radiant Charizard has been pulled, and that is probably going to help closing the game, because even if Seishan is able to return the KO, all that Seishan needs to close the game is to attach at itself Aurora energy, and that's basically it. The weakness will do the rest. So yeah, let's see what Seishan can do here. The problem that I see is that right now Lugia is in a very dominant position. So if I were Seishan, I would love to play something to disrupt the options of my opponent, so a Roxanne maybe. But if you play Roxanne, chances of you hitting what you need, I'm not sure if that's exactly what you want to do. So yeah, well, maybe we see some crazy combination here of double Saucer plus Roxanne plus Path to the Peak plus I don't know. Well, Path to the Peak, it's actually quite interesting because it shoots down Charizard, but well, the play that we have seen is Mew getting attached an energy, and no, it was way too much for Seishan to handle. Lugia got very quick KOs, and we are going to go straight onto the second game. So yeah, well played by both players. Again, I think that the coin flip really mattered at this time, and let's see what happens considering that Seishan is going to go first. And I want to see some action by Seishan and getting very crazy plays of Seishan hitting 3 energies from the top of the deck and attacking and getting a KO on Lugia and things like that. That would be amazing. Okay, so as well, let's see. Maybe Seishan decides to go second. No, that was clear. So Seishan decides to start, and that can be a bit scary because now Lugia needs to start with Lugia in the active position. The hand is not bad, but it's going to be actually a bit difficult to retreat Lugia from the active spot. So maybe if Seishan is now able to lead the prize race, it might have a possibility. So let's see what happens. So a basic energy is attached to Seishan and just Intrepid Sword. So no Mew, no Ultra Ball, no crazy combos, just... this is like playing ADP again. I don't know if you were the ones that loved playing ADP or the ones that hated it. I think I was more the later. Here we see Lugia acknowledging that, of course, another Lugia needs to be set up because it's super problematic to just leave one, even if Seishan has not used a lot of resources and will need to find a way to switch out the Seishan, to discard an energy to the discard pile, to use a way to accelerate energies and put it back into the active position. I think that it's a good idea to play safe. Well, you know what they say, better safe than sorry. So that's what we are looking at right now. Also checking if some key attackers are prized. So I think that Iveltal is there, Charizard is there. No, Charizard is there. I think I saw the Charizard. Now I'm not entirely sure. We are going to see... Oh, interesting. So we are going to see the energy, the V-Guard energy getting attached to the active Lugia, which I think it's really... it's actually really smart, because not only you are forcing now your opponent to have a choice belt if they want to get a KO, but also it means that you can go ahead and use Read the Wind. That's it. So you discard a card from your hand and you get some extra cards. So very sweet. Very sweet turn, very sweet setup from Lugia, and let's see how Seishan is able to react. As I said, it's completely imperative that Seishan gets the first KO. And it's something that might happen since now Escape Rope is being played and Mew has been promoted into the active spot. So not only Mew is going to give some consistency, but it also provides the player with the possibility of discarding energies and then use Metal Sorcerer. So Seishan, Samacenta V has also been played in the bench. Maybe that indicates that the player is thinking about using Professor's Research, because if not, Seishan is the type of Pokemon that you want to save for the very last turn, as it can very easily get a KO on everything. So let's see, Mew's ability has been used, a Choice Belt, which is, as we were saying, absolutely key in getting the KO. Absolutely key. And now Seishan evolves into Seishan V-Star. An energy gets attached manually, and Marnie gets played. Ooh, so that might have consequences. Of course, the main objective here is to disrupt the Lugia from getting an Archeops, but I don't know if that's actually going to work, because Lugia just drew a Lugia V-Star, and we know that at least one Archeops is on the discard pile. Then on Seishan's side, so we see how Crobat has been played, replenishing the cards, but nothing else is played. And I think that here there is a huge opportunity to take the lead, for Lugia to take the lead. Let's see what it decides to do. Of course, the main objective here is to get another Archeops into the discard pile. It's true that if you truly want it, you could use the V-Star power from Lugia and put one Archeops into the bench, but that's maybe not the best option. Ooh, and look at that. There is no way to get a second Archeops, at least not that I see right now. I know, so there were 2 Archeops in the... Okay, never mind. So that's more... Yeah, that's actually pretty easy. Now, We see that it is being decided whether to power up a Reiko or not. Reiko could be interesting if those Mew remain on the field. And then I think that we are just going to see an attack from Lugia. I think that we are going to see an attack from Lugia with double turbo energy, and what else? No, we are going to see... Oh, okay, so this is actually quite nice. Lugia decides to use Raikou, preserving Lugias, which is a really good idea, taking already 2 prizes, so 2 prizes ahead, forcing the opponent to attack with a V-Star, and then revenging it, so KOing it with full-powered Lugia with all the powerful energies. And that will be basically it. Oof, so things are not looking that great for Zacian right now. Things are not looking that great, that rightful for Zacian. Let's see what it's able to do. So Greninja has been played, it gets some draw power, which by the way it's going to be for free, because remember that the stadium is in play, so everything that you, well, not everything, but at least once per turn you can get back 1 energy from the discard pile to your hand. Another Zacian gets played. Maybe, I'm wondering if I were in that situation, what would be my attacker of choice? I think that the only thing is like to attack with Zacian and pray for my opponent to have at least one of the powerful energies prized, because Lugia requires 4 powerful energies to get the KO on Zacian. But yeah, I don't see there are many options here. Only 4 cards in Zacian's hand, and taking a lot of time to consider the options. Again, also having Crobat in the active spot is not ideal against Lugia, and I guess that if they are not able to pull anything this turn, it will be as easy as using Luminion and get Boss's orders, and I think that's what's going to happen next turn. So Zacian clearly was not able to use all the speed that they have, and now uses Intrepid Sword to get some more cards, but now at what cost? And here Lugia has different possibilities. It can directly maybe attack with Reiko, but I think it's going to opt for a very aggressive movement. But in this case, I think it's the right thing to do, considering how how stacked Zacian is, and is going to, I think, attack with Lugia. Now, the only problem, the only thing to consider here is that it will probably need to sacrifice the Aurora's energies attached to Raikou, but it's probably something that you can afford at this point of the game, considering that you will be 4 prizes ahead, and how are they going to come back from this? So that's the big question. How are they going to come back from this? 2 Aurora's energies getting sent to the discard pile. Lugia gets the KO. And that's it. And now, what are we going to see? It's true that Zacian has not used any Metal Saucer, but just concedes. So that's it. Yeah, that's it. Was a very quick game. It's true, and I think we can now switch. It's true that it was not an easy thing to sell the matchup, because I've been testing for some time now Zacian V-Star, and while I think it's a really aggressive and fun deck, it really struggles against anything that is able to attack you with 1 prize attackers. I don't know what you think about the strategy here, but it's, if your opponent plays V-Maxes or V-Stars, Zacian is probably the right choice, but then you cannot afford to go against Yveltals and Radiant Charizards, because it's just that you cannot keep up with them. And unless your opponent continues benching things like Eldigos or Luminions, there is no way for you to win. And in this case, I think that the analysis is pretty clear. So in the first game, we saw how Lugia had a really strong a really strong turn 1, was able to get the first KO very easily, then got the second KO while benching an amazing Iveltal, which was targeted down by Seishan, and by the time another Seishan was trying to be powered up, it was already too late. So yeah, and then in the second game, Seishan didn't really get to attack. Like, I don't think that we had seen Seishan attacking in game 2. It was, as I said, very, very quick, because I think that it was really bad for Seishan to open with Seishan, basically, and not with Mew, because that's already getting taken away from them the possibility to use energy accelerating cards like Metal Saucer and even Raihan at some point. And yeah, that's it. And we clearly see why Lugia is the most powerful deck in the format right now. It's clearly I think it is arguably the tier S deck right now. And all the decks that want to compete with Lugia, well, they need to adapt. And there is not much left to say. What do you think, guys, about the match that we have just seen? Do you think that maybe the players could have approached the game differently? Or if you see Seishan V-Star having some potential, maybe now or maybe in the future? I think it's not the right moment for Seishan V-Star to be here, mainly because of what I said, because of one price attackers. I don't think that Seishan has the possibility to win against Lost Box and Lugia. But it's true that, for instance, it has a really, really interesting matchup against things like Mew VMAX, because you KO one with Drapion and then you KO the next one with the V-Star attack. So that's basically it. How many games remaining in this set? No, that's it. That's it. That is the end of this set. So we should see in a while, the next match, which, let me check. Again, like, if you want to check exactly what is going on and who's winning and who's doing what, everything is public in the Limitless web. So we see that, Lugia, we have 2 Lugias that have won, and there are some other decks there are some other matches that are still being played. So just for you to know, we have, listen, 6 Lugias in top 8, and then 1 Seishan that has already lost. So sadly, we know that it's not going to go any further in this tournament. And then we have 1 Rayquaza Lost Box, and that's it. So I think that we are a bit doomed to see many Lugia mirror matches during the remaining of the tournament, but that's how the metagame has set up to be. I don't know if you are if you are happy with the current state of the metagame, or if you are more hoping to get the rotation here soon. I think that I'm hoping for the rotation. I'm fine with Lugia. I'm a Lugia player myself, so I don't tend to complain a lot about the decks that I typically play. But yeah, let's see. I would imagine that for the next round we will be seeing Lugia versus Lost Zone, but it will be confirmed soon. So I will keep you guys posted as soon as we have an update here. And I don't know who you are rooting for, but only 4 players will be remaining in a couple of minutes. And I think that also it's a bit of an issue, because we picked the game that we thought that it was going to be the most interesting one. And I completely agree that Seishan V-Star was very spicy, but also the games ended very, very quickly. The first one lasted like 10 minutes, and the second one, due to Seishan breaking so much, lasted 5. So I'm going to do one thing. I'm going to actually mute myself for a second, and I'm going to try to fix the music thing, because I was this streaming was supposed to have some music on it. And I don't know why it's giving me so many problems, and I just want to murder my computer and everything around. So let me try to get the music fixed, and if not, well, we'll just continue having like a casual chat as we have been doing so far, and I'll be right back in just some minutes, so please stay tuned. So we have the game. Let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go. There we are. Okay, so thanks for letting me know, and I don't know, what does it look like that? I think it's because I need to... Wait, 1 second. Well, I don't know what is happening, but there we are. Okay, so that's game... that's actually top 4. And we see that it's Lost Box against Lugia, of course. So what else was going to be? Lugia has started, and this is absolutely key, and has decided to bench some Pokemon. We see here Lumineon, Lugia, and what is it? And Stoutland. So comfy shenanigans going on. Let's remember that this is Rayquaza Lost Box, and please, if the music is very high or you cannot hear me well because of the music, just let me know, okay? And I will, as I said, I will adjust it. Anyways, so what we are seeing here is comfy. Now, how many cards do we have in the discard in the Lost Zone? I think almost 6 or 7, so maybe those Mirage Gates will come live very soon. Then Escape Rope getting played, another comfy will be able to be used. So yes, we see that the Mirage Gates are not being highlighted by the game, so that means that the player still or just has 6 cards in the discard zone. Well, you were supposed to be hearing background music, but maybe the thing is that it tells me that I have it on, but apparently I don't. So well, don't worry. So you will need to bear with me for the remainder of the tournament, it seems. Anyways, some difficult decisions here. Right hand or Grass Energy. I think that Grass Energy depends on what it's on the prize cards. But if the player decides to pick right hand, is because they know that another Grass Energy is still on the deck, because remember, that is what allows Raikou and Amazing Rayquaza to attack. And there we go, precisely talking about Raikou, we are going to see a first attack, which is going to be very interesting. Not only it takes some HP away from Stoutland, it might also want to target Dunsparce, so to get a free prize. But let's see. Let's see here what is going to be the decision. Amazing Shot that deals 120 damage to the active position and 120 damage to something on the field. So perfectly taking advantage of the fact that Manaphy is nowhere to be seen. It's pretty soft. It's pretty soft, the music. Well, I don't know. Anyways, so okay, interesting here. So Dunsparce was not targeted, of course. Like it really didn't need it to go down, because it's not a problematic thing in the sense that Rayquaza can very easily get rid of the sturdier Pokemon than Lugia. So now it applies some pressure. And another important aspect about bringing Raikou to attack with it is that it is very, 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 very difficult to KO it with Stoutland one of the ways in which Lugia is able to win this matchup is by using Stoutland either early game or late game to KO a Comfy with 2 powerful energies attached and to get 2 prizes. But now I think that this is not going to be the situation, and especially because Lugia seems to have, I won't say bricked, because it was able to get the everything basically that they needed, so the 2 Archeops have already been played. The issue that I see here is that the possibility to use... okay, so that was the play. So the Lugia player decides to save Stoutland, recognizing the value that it has in this matchup, because as I said, it's your route to victory, and uses Aqua Return for 220, which is exactly the amount of HP that you require to KO a Raikou. You preserve something, you put 1 prize attacker, and then you still have the possibility to use Stoutland to close the game. So very, very interesting and very smart move from Lugia here. And also, one of the energies had been already attached to Archeops, and I wouldn't discard seeing Archeops here in this game to maintain the prize trade. Let's see what happens here. So the thing with Lost Box is that it has so many different options. So many different options that the things that they can do are almost countless. So Oranguru gets played, not the card that you want to see here, precisely a Battle VIP pass, but here another Battle VIP pass appearing, and the choice is clear. So it is going to get sent to the Lost Zone. We see here a Scoop Up Net, so maybe getting used to switch the Comfy from the Comfy on the bench and have the possibility to get some more resources and some more cards. And now that Manaphy is not in this equation, we might see here Lost Box going for a big Greninja movement, or even Greninja or even Sableye can be the attackers. It really depends. I've seen some Lost Zone players in this type of situations doing crazy things, like targeting down the double Archeops with Greninja and then finishing everything off with Sableye. But let's see. Ordinary Road to get some resources back. Ordinary Road, I would say, is one of the key cards of this deck. So if you have to send one to the discard pile, that's really bad. And look at the amount of energies that had already been sent to the discard pile. Good thing that the energy recycler is not priced. So Ordinary Road is going to get a Metal and a Lighting energy, and then I think that maybe Right Hand can be played, but I wonder what is going to be the attacker of choice. As I said, there are many options here, so you can decide to be very, very conservative and attack maybe and spread some damage counters with Sableye, ignoring the Dank Spurs. You could, if you wanted to, get the easy KO and attack with Cramorant, or if you had the necessary amount of resources, if you really wanted to, you could attack with another thing. But yeah, I don't exactly know. It seems that Mirage Gate is going to be used on Sableye. And yes, forget what I said about attacking with Greninja, because this version, in this case, it does not run any water energy, so attacking with Greninja is not going to be possible. So Mirage Gate is going to be played, attaching one fighting energy to Comfy and the psychic one to Sableye. Okay, so that's interesting. Also, they didn't have other attackers that could really benefit from Mirage at this point. And now, where is Sableye going to be putting the damage counters? That's a really good question, because now Stoutland and Lugia are both heavily damaged. So yeah, I think that going for Stoutland and taking from your opponent the possibility of just using its attack and get 2 prizes on a comfy, it's a good movement. And now, suddenly, just like that, Lost Box is leading the prize race. So 4 prizes against 5. Let's see what Lugia now decides to do. I think that in this type of situations, what Lugia really wants to try to find is first a way to disrupt the resources of their opponent. So maybe playing a Marnie. And then it is also interesting to attack with Luminion. But it seems that there are no supporters, there is no Luminion, there is no way to get anything back. So Archops is going to do the job here. Archops, by the way, who can get to be a very scary attacker because of the fact that it can use the powerful energies. It can even KO Luminions and other V Pokemons in the field. But yeah, Archops is just going to attack, and the opponent, now Lost Box, is going to be forced to answer. But the thing is that there are many ways in which Lost Box can answer. I don't think that they are going to use Raikou at this situation. And by the way, talking about Raikou, Manaphy has already been benched. I don't know if Raikou would be used again, but now let's see the possibilities. The issue with Lost Zone is that the more the game goes by, the more selective you need to be with the resources that are left in your deck. So Oranguru will help sending the Battle VIP Pass to the Lost Zone, which is exactly what you want to do. Then another important energy recycling card has been drawn, in this case the training card. And I think that the issue here is to decide which is the next attacker which is going to be the next attacker. Considering playing training card, so we see some energy recovery here, so that this is, or that gets us the confirmation that the next attacker is once more going to be Sableye. And it seems that the player Lecho is considering playing or not Colress Experiment. And let's see, in this kind of deck you need to be very conscious about your resources. If you, for whatever reason, if you are forced to send too many energy cards to the Lost Zone, it's over, so you're done. And I think that this is the right choice. Maybe you don't need a second Rayquaza, not when the Lugia has already been damaged, which means that you can easily KO with Raikou or with something like of the likes. And probably considering that there are only 9 cards in the deck, maybe Colress can be sacrificed. And now, let's see where those damage counters go. I think that the easy choice here would be to KO the Archops, because if you KO the Archops, not only you are getting rid of one of the main attackers that Lugia has right now, but also you are getting, you are cutting by half the possibilities of then attaching energies. And also another important thing to consider is exactly that Manaphy is an easy target for Sableye's counters, and that means that if also Dunsparce goes down, Raikou can then be used once again and get potentially 2 or maybe 3 prizes in just one hit. So one more KO for Lost Zone, and the rest of the damage counters I think went to Lugia. Yep. And now, unless Lugia was able to draw something of the prizes, we might see again another very passive turn here. So maybe powering up something like Oranguru. Now, the problem, Lugia is not precisely in an easy spot, because what do? Like, you're not going to use that damage Lugia to attack. It is no use. So the only chance that you have here is again to keep rotating your attackers, to try to deny prizes from your opponent, and to hopefully get something and hope that they don't have the resources or the necessary energies to attack. But that's proved to be easier said than done, especially when there is no disruption cards like Marnie. So boss's orders, attacking and getting the KO on mana fee, that's interesting. Maybe they are setting up a Reiko play? And I think that's what Lugia is, that what Lost Zone is actually is actually checking if there were any Aurora's energies played or not. In case that Lost Zone wants to prepare against a possible Reiko, they would need to then use a rod to get mana fee back. But let's see here. I think that the intention from Lost Box is to use Reiko once again and to KO that Archops on the bench. Another Cold Rest now played, Rayquaza and Basic Energy and Amirage have been grabbed, which I think are right choices, and because Comfy you don't really need it at this point of the game. So yeah, let's see. Raikou, on the one hand, I think it might be a bit risky because your opponent can easily KO with Charizard, Radiant Charizard. But maybe it's the safest choice. I don't know. Let's see what happens here. So there is only, by the way, one card left in the deck. That also shows the power, the amazing draw power that Lost Zone decks have. They are just very speedy and very consistent. Another energy gets grabbed from the discard pile, and it seems that we are just going to see an attack from Sableye and keeping the Raikou just in case something happens. An energy will be placed on top, and that is it. And that is the second rod that is going to have a huge impact in this game. Also remember that Lugia was not able to find disruption cards, so that explains the situation in which Lost Box is feeling right now. I think that after having played this matchup myself for quite some time, it can go either way, but Lugia sometimes needs to rely on Lost Box missing some key cards at some key moments and also disrupting their options with Marnie. Nothing that has happened in the game that we are seeing right now. So Lost Zone, Lost Box, I call them equally Lost Zone and Lost Box, only has one last prize to take, and Raikou is going to be the attacker of choice. So I think that here the game... Whoa, wait, it might not be over. If the opponent, if Lugia finds a way to remove the stadium, maybe there is a chance. But Lost Zone drew the energy. So that's going to be it. We are going to see the KO from Archops. Sableye is going to go down, which is fine. But then it is going to get killed it's going to be revenged by Raikou on the bench, Raikou V, that deals 20 damage times the amount of Pokemon in both benches plus 20, I think. So it's like the good old Suicune V that we all loved to play with Ludicolo, I think. And yeah, different options are here being considered. I guess that Lugia will try to get 2 prize cards with Raikou, so targeting maybe Sableye and the Comfy on the bench. But as I said, if Lost Zone had... no, actually not. I don't know if that was a mistake from their side or that they are just basically conceding the game. I think it might be probably the second. So, so that's how the game ends. The first victory goes to Lost Box Rayquaza. So we are going to hop into the second game right now. I guess that Lugia will get to start, which is also huge for the outcoming of this matchup. And so yeah, we'll see. What did you guys think about the game? It was a really interesting one, but the problem is that Lugia bricked very hard, and it spent like 2 turns without being able to play a supporter. So there we go. The second game is on. And by the way, I need to say that I love the sleeves that both players are using, especially the London ones. So, look at that hand from Lost Box. If Lost Box is not able to draw a Comfy or a Colress or something, okay, so, okay, well, that's unfortunate. That's really, really, really unfortunate. It seemed that Lugia decided to go second. I am not entirely sure of why that happened, but well, maybe that's the strategy, to go second. So to avoid turn 1 Cramorant attack, maybe, and to be able to properly set up. But the problem with this game that we are seeing is that basically Lost Zone is in top deck mode. So unless the heart of the cards is with him today, I don't see there are many options for him to come back into this game if Lugia is properly set up. By the way, Lugia has used a Quick Ball to discard an Archeops and is probably checking the deck and counting the amount of energies that they have and making sure that everything is available, like the Aurora energies and, very important, the powerful energies. So to use the Stoutlands attack. Now, Oranguru has been used. That might mean that we are going to see Juniper or not. So just Archeops, and energy goes into Lugia, and that's it. So Professor's Research gets played. Now, Lugia is not going to go down anywhere soon, especially with the poor start. And don't get me wrong, I'm not laughing about the player or anything. It's just that sometimes the situations and the bricks in this game, especially in TCG Online, are like are just insane. And you can be the best player out there in the world, and there is nothing else that you can do here. So, and even if Lost Zone here is able to draw a Colress or something like that, the momentum that they have lost is already, oh no, what a top deck. That was not exactly what you wanted to see. So I think that we are going to see just a scoop here. Yeah. So a pass. It's really, really, really sad. Yeah. Well, at least they are taking it with humor, but that's how things go. So Lugia is going to easily attack. Only one Archeops would have been enough for this type of situations. And now it's just, time for round 3. And we are going to be seeing Lost Zone deciding who goes first and who goes second. As I said, very, very unfortunate draws. You don't want to start with Cramorant. I think they are like, it's not about the starter, but it's about the starter definitely if you have nothing else. Maybe you could have decided to, maybe if you had started with Raikou, maybe you had the possibility because you could activate the ability and draw some extra cards, but even with that, it was very poor and there was nothing to do in this situation. So, yeah, things happen. And I think that we have all been in the situation where there is nothing else with you to. There is nothing else that you can do as a player. And yeah, so let's see, because I think that we should very soon have the next game, or is it that? Let me check something very quickly, because I think. No. So we are 1-0. No, we should still have one more. We should still have one more game left. Or am I missing something? Because we saw Lost Zone winning and this one losing, so unless we arrived very late. So I don't know if you guys from the Shuffle Squad can confirm this or not. But I don't know if we are waiting for... Are we waiting for something? Or what's the situation here? Okay, so we go for the next game. And I think this is the new game. Okay. Well, anyway, so Lost Zone is going to go first this turn. And as we can see, well, the hand is really, really good this time because of the 2 Battle VIP pass, because of Greninja, because of Oranguru, and because of Cold Red. So I think this is a perfect setup. Yeah, this is all that one can wish for when playing Lost Zone, basically. So, and we see that Lugia has opened with Punkabu, which is not like the worst thing to open with, but it's definitely something that is taking some bench space away from you, and bench space is very important in this type of matchups because you are going to be using it to bench at least 1 Lugia, 2 Archeops, and possibly 1 Manaphy. So yeah, that does not give you many options, especially to rotate between attackers and all of that. Anyways, so Battle VIP Pass, checking everything that is already on the deck, counting the energies if you are playing this deck or you ever consider playing this deck. Check the energies as soon as possible. Then the second Battle VIP Pass is going to be grabbed to get, so that's it, Manaphy and possibly Cramorant because it's going to be your first attacker, and Manaphy because it will protect you from Reiko. Then Radiant Greninja, after thinning out the deck, will discard 1 energy, and look at that, even a third Battle VIP Pass. I don't think that it will be played, though. The bench has already been set up perfectly fine, and just like that, all the 4 copies of Battle VIP Pass are gone. It is such a great feeling when you use Comfy, and one of the options is Battle VIP Pass, basically. I think the amount of options that Lost Zone has here are pretty wide, in the sense that they don't need to do anything crazy. They can just play a couple of Comfies, and then they can use Colress experiments next turn to maybe pull off the Speed Innocently attack. And not so the third Battle VIP Pass is going to be played now. I would imagine, I can only imagine how Lugia must be feeling at this point. Like, oh my god, really? You drew the 4 Battle VIP passes? And very cleverly, of course, Oranguru is now protecting the Lost Zone player from Marnie, because Marnie can happen, and Marnie early game can be a situation unless you have some lucky draws, and in this case the Lost Zone player is getting for sure a cold rest after that. Now, let's go for Lugia's turn. As you all know, what Lugia needs to do is to set up, so it needs to discard 1 or 2 Archeops, 2 ideally, to the discard pile, set up 1 Lugia V, and go from there. I didn't get to see what was the first card discarded by Ultra Ball. The second one, as we see clearly in the discard pile, has been the Aurora Energy, which is a very painful card to discard because it's what you need to use attackers like Raikou, which is very important in this type of matchups. So Archops was scrapped, then Quick Ball, that is probably going to get a Lugia V, or maybe a Lumineon V, if Lugia does not have any possibilities to get things going. So let's see here. So Lumineon V, as we said, it seems that they don't have a support in its hand, so we might see here either a Marnie or Professor's Research. Depending on how valuable those 3 cards are. Okay, so Marnie, very interesting. So the thing here is that Marnie is, of course, the disruption choice that you want to take, but it gives you very few possibilities of you hitting a Lugia V. But well, it was good that the Quick Ball was drawn. Anyways, as the Lost Zone did its homework with Oranguru, now Colress is going to be played, and here there are some interesting decisions. I think that Raikou will need to be grabbed or not. Maybe you can Lost Zone the Escape Rope and also the energies. I didn't check the amount of energies the amount of energy copies that Lost Zone had, but clearly it seems to be prioritizing the energies here. Okay. But you know that sometimes this is not a very easy decision. Well, yeah, maybe in this situation you are going to be attacking with the Raikou Mini anyway, so maybe you don't need the VMAX. And it would be ideal if you could just boss something in the field, but it is impossible because, of course, the supporter of the turn has already been used. And then it seems that we are going to be seeing some confis. Right hand will get grabbed, and capture energy will be sent to the Lost Zone. And now the possibilities here are quite a few, because maybe you want to get the easy KO with Cramorant, or you can just pass the turn and wait for you to have some more cards in the Lost Zone and attack with Raikou. That can also be another possibility. If Lost Zone is able to pull off a Raikou plus Boss's Orders play, that would be absolutely insane. Also because Lumineon, by the way, well, both of the Pokemon that are in the bench have weakness to Lightning type Pokemon. And that is going to be an issue. So I think there are already 5 cards in the Lost Zone, so not quite enough to activate Mirage Gate. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, yeah, exactly, 6. So 1 left. Sableye cannot attack, Raikou cannot attack, so maybe, I don't know, maybe Scoop Up can be played, or the Air Balloon can be played, and Speed Innocently will be picked, which seems to be the case here. And also it's not that problematic to attack with Cramorant, also because it's actually a quite sturdy Pokemon, and Stoutland is not able to KO unless it attaches 4 energies, and sometimes it's not that easy. By the way, it's very unlikely that Stoutland is going to be used in the next turn, because, well, depends on the amount of energies and depends on the hand that the opponent has, but still, it might not be the best or the easiest thing to see. Speed Innocently, by the way, at some point, I think that I would like to speak to the designers and understand why they decided to give this attack name to Cramorant. But anyway, so Lumineon is going to be promoted, which of course is the right thing to do, because you want to use Aqua Return, I think it's the name of the attack, to save some resources. And a second Marnie is going to be played, and this one, it is important, but again, Oranguru has been used in a very well thought and defensive way, which is helping with right hand. That means that next turn we will very easily see an attack from Raikou. And things can get interesting here. Now, this Ultra Ball will ensure that 2 Archeops are on the discard pile, so Lugia will be able to use its V-Star ability, and we will see some attacks get start here. I think that the safest play would be to power up the Luminion, and then to put Oranguru in the active position. Basically, because if you do that, it's not that easy for them to KO Oranguru out. So Aqua Return, yeah. Aqua Return, Luminion goes back to the... Exactly, Luminion goes back to the deck, and Comfy gets promoted. So plenty of options here, to be honest. Plenty of options here from Lost Box. It could be interesting to first use Flower Selecting to see what they want. Oh, and look at that. So the Escape Rope was grabbed, and I think that even if you now are 1 rod down, it is still going to make a difference, because attacking with Raikou can put so much damage counters in the field. So you could easily KO 1, depending on what the opponent promotes. So Lugia would almost die, would almost get sent to the discard pile. Then Archeops could also get so Lugia is the only one that can survive the attack, and we are going to see here another energy, probably getting attached. Yeah, because there was no energy, so another energy has to be grabbed here, or maybe in a stadium, something like that. Now, Lugia will survive, but barely. So that means that Sableye can do what it wants, and that is going to be very challenging then for Lugia to come back. So let's see. It seems that Lightning Energy is chosen, and some deck thinning, I think we are going to see. Maybe Sableye, or maybe Cramorant. Yeah, Cramorant is actually the best follow-up attacker after that, because of course Raikou is going to go down. And now the question is, where do you place the damage counters? Because I think that's an interesting decision. You can either target Oranguru and get very easy prices, or you can place some counters on Archeops, and then you can get 3 prizes with Sableye. But it seems that Oranguru was the victim. Raikou is so good. Like, it's such a game-changing card. It's one of the most powerful attackers we had, and it punishes you for not being able to set up your bench properly and getting access to Manaphy. No wonder why there are some Lost Box decks that have decided to run 2 Manaphys in this type of format. I won't say that this is Raikou-centric, but it can be decided by a well-timed Raikou. Anyways, so back into the game, Lugia has no option than to attack, and we also see that without access to Oranguru, the options are very, very limited, and unless something very crazy happens, I don't see the way in which Lugia can go back from the situation. Because, well, Sableye can be like a game closing card, but I think that all that Lost Zone needs to do is to keep attacking, keep promoting attackers, and that's basically it. It's true that, as I said, they had to get rid of one ordinary rod, which might be an issue late game, and now there is another difficult choice, because one of the most important cards that you run into this deck, which is the Energy Recycler, was also sacrificed and sent to the Lost Zone. But I guess that here it is clear that the priority was to get the KO from Cramorant. I wonder now what the follow-up play is going to look like. Still, like, Greninja can be used to draw some additional cards and all of that. So yeah, there are still options here. Worst case scenario, you just attack with Oranguru. Can you imagine that? Attacking with Oranguru? Well, it won't be the first time that I had to do that. Attacking with Oranguru. More Comfys getting benched, and then that is going to already provide Lost Zone with 2 extra prize cards. In this case, 1 Grass Energy and a Colrex Experiment. Actually, we have only seen 1 Colrex Experiment, I think. So not that many. Archeops now will attack with Archeops. Will use its ability to power itself and attack with Archeops, but I think that at this point of the game, now chances of Lugia coming back are not that great, especially if we consider that 2 copies of Marnis have already been used. So yeah, this is definitely an issue. Cramorant is going to go down, but the question is if Lost Zone can answer that, and I think that yes, it will be kind of easy to answer that. All that they need to pull is a Sableye, basically, or maybe a way to get back the Raikou, or well, they have 2 Raikous, so maybe that's it. Maybe they just use another Raikou, KO Archeops, target something on the bench, and that's basically it. And that was a very nice draw, the Scoop Up Net. Only 2 had been used, so there were still 2. Sableye is there, Mirage Gate is there, Boss's Orders is there, so many options. That's something that I don't really love about Lost Zone, and I actually think he has the KO, right? Though they have the KO, I think, no, I don't think they do, because I think that there was only 1 energy. I think there was only 1 energy on the deck, and not 2, even if Oranguru can be used. I don't remember exactly the amount of energies that they had. Well, anyways, so Scoop Up Net is going to be used, then promoting another Comfy, so that means that more flower selecting and more possibilities. Another Mirage, the energy needs to be grabbed, because there are not many energy. I think the energy needs to be grabbed because there are not many energy recycling options left, considering that Ordinary Rod and Energy Recycler had already been Lost Zoned. So So 3 Mirage Gates, I'm not sure if they are going to be using all of them, to be perfectly honest. Look at the amount of energies that had been sent to the to the discard pile. That might make the difference in the long term. Let's see what we have here. More energies. Like, I wonder, are there any energies left in the deck for Mirage Gate to be used? Well, I mean, they can still attack with, if they really want it, they can still attack with Sableye using Raihan to attach a Psychic Energy from the discard pile, if that is what they are going for. And then I also wonder what's the follow-up play for that. As you see, this is not an easy turn, because on the one hand, I completely agree with those aggressive decisions, because it helped being in the situation where Lost Rayquaza is right now. But on the other, the sacrifices that you had to make were so huge. And there is the Road, the card that changes everything. Road is going to habilitate a lot of different combinations now. So yeah, so 2 Pokemon go back into the deck, Cramorant and Raikou. And Cramorant, I think, is very, very important here, because it does not require you to spend any energies on it. And that's why Cramorant is so popular, not only because it's like the best attacker that you have in early game, but also because if you want to save your resources for something more powerful for future turns, that's something that you can do. And it seems that the energies that have been chosen are the ones that combine with Raikou, well, and with Rayquaza, because basically they share the same amount of the same requirements, let's say. So Raikou is selected here. Interesting. And it's going to be powered up directly. So with 2 energies and the manual attachment. Or no, the manual attachment. True. Oh, did he forget that he had already attached the captured energy to search for Rayquaza? Oh, I don't know what happened here. I think, I'm not sure. I'm just speculating here at this point, because it might be that that this was his plan all along. But I suspect that maybe because this was such a long turn that he forgot actually that he forgot the fact that he had already attached an energy. And now let's see, because that Stoutland is looking scary, but he had, oh wow, what a final turn. So that boss's order targeting Lugia, wow, that was crazy. That was crazy, guys. That was crazy. Well, as I said, like, it's not like I want to say that the opponent the player didn't have everything planned in his head or anything. I'm not in their shoes, and who knows the strategy that they might be going for. But definitely, that was such an intense second game. Very, very, very intense. And now I think that we are going to go... Oh, no, let's go back. Yes. Sorry, I don't know why this keeps moving. This is terrible. Anyways. So, and we are going straight into the final round. And I think this is Lost Zone against Lugia, if I am not mistaken. This is Lost Zone against Lugia. Okay, let me place this. There we are. Okay, so this time we won't run late. So let's see what happens. We see some challenges being declined here. And let me confirm you exactly which is the matchup that we are going to be seeing. So so Lugia on the one hand, so Lugia against Lost Zone Rayquaza. And we have seen that Lost Zone Rayquaza is very well equipped to deal with Lugia, but there are things that have to happen for Lost Zone to, well, first of all, don't break. That's like strategy number 1, and your priority, don't break, and then go from there. But let's see, this is going to be a very, very interesting final. And now the coin flip is getting cold, and it seems that Lost Zone is going to decide. It might. Now let's see, because if it goes first, interesting. So Lost Zone Rayquaza decides to start second, because it prioritizes getting the turn 1 Cramorant attack. That's what I would understand, and being able to use Colress Experiment. But the problem that you have if you do that, in my experience, is that Lugia might be able to set things quicker than you are and start getting very easy KOs. So let's see guys, if this is how this idea of starting second pays off. Now, Lugia has started with Amazing Raikou, and by the way, let me move this a little bit. Yeah, that way, I think this is fine. So Lugia has started with Amazing Raikou, and immediately we see how Capture Energy gets attached. So, of course, like the first choice is going to be Lugia V, because that's the card that allows you to set up perfectly fine. And we'll see if there are so many... No, I was considering maybe some discard cards here, but nothing at all. So let's see. Colress Experiment gets used. Battle BI Past is immediately grabbed, of course, because it's how you want to set things up. Those Colresses that you use in the first turn without having access to look at your deck can actually be very scary, because right now the player has no way to know if, for instance, the second copy of Sableye is priced. So maybe getting rid of it can make a huge difference at the beginning. So I think that this was like a very conservative but correct play, in the sense that it was decided to prioritize the energies over the Sableye. And that's basically it. Also, I think I remember that this list is playing Hishui and Heavy Ball. So even if the second copy of Sableye was priced, it was kind of possible to access it during the course of the game. Now, Comfy has been picked, as well as Radiant Greninja, which is an amazing card to get things to the discard pile and draw some cards in the process. Radiant Rayquaza was the Pokemon that has been put in the active spot, but now it can be retreated thanks to the escape rope. So okay, all good. Comfy is going to be promoted, of course, sending one extra card to the Lost Zone. And the player is considering whether to do something else before, so maybe attaching a captured energy to get another Comfy. I think that's a possibility here. It really depends on what you are expecting to draw from those Comfys and what you want to put there. So flower selecting will give an energy, I think. In this type of games, you don't want to be benching 3 or 4 Comfys or anything like that. Not only because they are an easy prey for Raikou, but also because, well, there is a point in which you don't need that many Comfys. So let's see whether Comfy or the energy is picked. The energy gets added to the hand, and then I think that so Quick Ball. They are debating whether to use Quick Ball or not. So the thing is that it was decided to attach the Air Balloon because that was the way to put Comfy into the active spot. Unless I missed something, I think that they couldn't they have simply retreated by discarding the energy? Maybe, I don't know, the thing with Lost Box is that they use so many switching cards that sometimes I lose the count of whether the manual retreat has already been used or not, but I thought that was a possibility. Well, anyways, so Oranguru gets grabbed here, a very defensive Oranguru, as I like to call them, because they are anti-Marnies, but that's what I was saying. So the problem of you deciding to go second against Lugia is that if they are able to pull a second turn Raikou attack as Lost Box fails to get Manaphy in the field, you're already running 2 prizes behind, and that is terrible. I don't know if Lugia will be able to do that, because one Aurora energy has already been sent to the discard pile, and I don't think that we have seen many Archeops hitting the discard pile. So maybe this is going to be a slow turn for Lugia as well. I didn't get to see the first card that was discarded. And Luminion will be used for a Marnie, I would imagine. No, for Professor's Research. Okay, fine. Then, that was very unlucky. Look at the amount of energies. Look at the amount of energies that the poor guy had in hand, in the sense that he had already used one double turbo energies, one of the 2 copies that they run, which is very painful, and especially the Aurora energy. However, if they are able to set up 2 Archeops right now and attack with Raikou, I think, how unlucky is that? How unlucky is that? So nothing at all. Not even one read the wind, because the energy had been, of course, attached to Raikou. And now, the dream of getting 2 prizes with Raikou goes away because Manaphy has been drawn. So Colress Experiment is going to keep adding more resources even to the hand. Now it seems that they are going to sacrifice Boss's Orders and 1 copy of Ordinary Road. And then the question is, what is going to be the attacker here, because Dunsparce is on the field, which means that Lugia won't go down if you attack it with maybe one amazing Raikou, but the other Raikou can certainly maybe or can pull something here. So let's see. I think the Mirage Gates are already open. So if Lost Zone really wanted to, it can. I mean, are we going to see a KO with Rayquaza? That can actually be very wild. It will only require 3 energies, but at the same time, I think it's very effective because Lugia only has one Lugia on the field, and if you take Lugia out of the equation, there are no Archops, which means that there is no way for you to win. There is no way to accelerate energies. You will need to rely on manually drawing all your attackers and manually attaching your energies, which is something that it just takes so much time that you don't want to see. So yeah, I think that here Lost Box recognizes that this is exactly the time to be aggressive and KO the only Lugia that is on the field. Poor Lugia. You're the guardian of the sea, and then you are KO'd just like that. Well, but the good thing, or the bright side, is that you are KO'd by an equally majestic Pokemon. And Rayquaza is one of my favorite ones. Anyways, so then the Stadium is going to be played to get some energies back from the discard pile. I think that Manaphy might be played here, but there is no need to play Manaphy because Raikou has attached 1 capture energy and just 1 Aurora energy. Remember that Raikou, if it wants to attack, it will need 2 extra Aurora energies, and without access to Archops, there is no possibility for Raikou to attack this turn. So that's why Manaphy was not benched. 2 extra prizes for Rayquaza, and talking precisely about Raikou, that maybe is an attacker that is going to be used to seal the deal, basically. A lot of energy cards have already been sent to the Lost Box. This is so difficult to distinguish between the discard pile and Lost Zone. Anyways, to the discard pile, but energy recycler will probably be still in the deck. So yeah, I think that the only possibility here for Lugia is to stall the game. Try to slow things down a little bit to prevent the opponent from getting more KOs and to try to set up a second Lugia. But that's basically it. And I don't think that things are going to be slowed down anyways, because Colrex Experiment is now on the hand. That is going to give access to even more resources. And I think that this time the rod is going to get grabbed, and yeah, so Battle VIP Pass goes away, as well as capture energy. And there is a way to already switch the Rayquaza from the active position if you really wanted to. Now again, I wonder what the attacker of choice for this turn is going to be. Maybe it is as easy as to go for a Cramorant, I don't know. Or depending on what you draw, because Sableye could already be used. Think of that. And Sableye can be very, very good to start putting some damage counters on maybe Lugia, or even maybe just Raikou and getting rid of the Dunsparce. If Dunsparce disappears, then Raikou V can very easily get the KO on Lugia V Max. So let's see what happens here. So I think that we are going to see either a Sableye or a Cramorant, or, well, there was the other choice, or Raikou. Okay, so Raikou kind of works, yeah, especially because it has access to some energies. Okay, so I think that the targets might be, so the opponent Raikou and Dunsparce in the active position, probably. And that alone is probably going to be enough to win the game, because unless the opponent is able to Arnie, then Raikou V, because of the weakness, is going to take down Lugia, which is probably going to be the Pokemon that gets promoted into the active spot. So yeah, as I said, Raikou goes down, 2 very easy prizes, and oh my god, like what can Lugia do here in this situation? What can be done? Regardless of what Lugia decides to promote, I think that the situation in which they are is so difficult. The only possibility is kind of to Marnie and pray, I believe. Marnie and pray. No, not Marnie. So Professor's research was used to send Archeops finally to the discard pile, but even with that, the situation is very difficult. So I imagine that Luminion will be used to attack and get back to the deck, and then it is absolutely a must that a one prize Pokemon is promoted, because if not, the game is over. I mean, and Lugia clearly knows that. So maybe the one that will take the sacrifice is Archeops. Let's see. Or maybe Punkawoo, perhaps. Charizard could be an interesting wall here. Charizard is a really smart play because it's not that easy to be taken down by any of the lost Rayquaza attackers. It's true that you could use like Raikou V, or you could use Sableye, but still that you don't get the KO. So I think that here either we see a passive turn from Lost Box. I don't know if it's worth attacking with Cramorant in this position, or maybe we are going to look for a Sableye option. Just ignore the Charizard and put some damage counters in Lugia. Let's see. It is a pity that Lugia has not been able to set up properly earlier, because now the game is... There are still chances for Lugia to come back into this game, but not as many as they had if everything would have gone according to the plan. So let's see what happens here. Comfey was, of course, promoted, and I think that, flower selecting is going to be used. It is very clear what choice it was going to be made, because not only you need to recycle your energies, it's just that Battle VIP pass, of course, is something that you don't want to see. So it looks like Oranguru is going to be used now. I don't know exactly what is going to be selected. So Rayquaza, okay, and another Cramorant. Another Cramorant appears. I don't know exactly if they should or they are going to ignore the Charizard and try to go for something else, or maybe another possibility. I guess that if you really wanted to do that, another possibility could be to use Raikou again, because Manaphy is not on the field. So you could potentially recycle your Raikou, recycle a couple of energies, use Mirage Gate, attack Charizard, and put some damage counters on maybe one Archeops, and then finish everything with Sableye. But it looks like, as I said, this is like a more passive kind of turn with Cramorant speeding innocently. Again, kudos for the guy that named that attack. I don't know what they were thinking, but you're my hero. If I ever get to work for Pokemon Company, I would do what I can to honor your legacy. Anyways, Ordinary Rod gets played, so we see some energies, Steel and a Grass one, and so Lightning and Grass, and Raikou was also sent back to the deck. And Speed innocently, so 110 damage to the Charizard, which is not enough to take it down. And let's see what happens here. Charizard can easily KO Cramorant if they wanted to. The problem with Charizard is that if you want to retreat it, which is what is probably going to happen, okay, there you are. You need to not to waste, but you need to invest 3 energies on it. So Charizard is going to manually retreat and then preserving energies, which is very important for this type of matchup. We are going to see yet another Aqua return and probably Charizard being promoted again into the active position, or Archeops. Okay, that is it. So here Lugia acknowledging that that probably Charizard is not going to be used anytime soon. But still, the problem with Lugia is that it is still 4 prizes away. So, Lostbox Rayquaza is probably going to get a KO here. All that they need to do is to maybe attach an energy to that Comfy, bench one Cramorant, and attack over Charizard, and that's it. And then, whatever the opponent brings, so whatever Lugia brings, can be easily taken down by Raikou. There is Sableye, so yeah, I think that Sableye is going to be used here at this point of the game. It has enough damage. The output from Sableye is enough to KO Charizard and to spread some damage counters maybe on Lugia, which can be the next attacker here. Let's see. So Radiant Greninja using concealed cards to draw some more cards. And so many options here. I mean, even right hand can be used. The stadium can be used. I don't see a way for Lost on Rayquaza to lose the deck, right? To lose the game right now. It's such in a favorable position. It had a lot of momentum during the first turns of the game. Lugia was not able to set up properly, so there was clearly an imbalance there. Let's see, so the stadium getting used to recycle the energy that allows Sableye to attack, and that's it. So Sableye is just going to go for Lost Mine. Just as easy as that. There are still a couple of other things that Lost On might be doing, like recycling all the energies, as we are seeing here. All of them except for the grass one, for the lightning one, maybe because that's what you want to use for Raikou to attack. And maybe we will see here Raikou being benched, just in case. Nope, no Raikou, so just a Lost Mine attack, straight like that. So Charizard will sadly go down, and Lugia, yes. I think that Lugia is probably the next attacker that the opponent is going to, that the Lugia player is going to choose. And that's it. Just one attack is separating Lecho from winning the late night series here in Europe and getting some very juicy points for the late night qualifier that will earn you a trip to Japan. So, yeah, at this point, the only possibility I see is to use Marnie again. And pray. Marnie and pray. That's basically it. Marnie and pray. But I don't remember how many Marnies have they used. Okay, so there was still one Marnie there. Interesting, Stoutland is now used. So Stoutland could balance things a little bit, but will that be enough? Because it's true that it can now get the KO on Sableye, but it can get the KO on Sableye. It can certainly do. And will Lostbox Rayquaza be able to answer to that? Yes. So right hand was already secured, a secured draw. But I think that in this situation, that is... So Lugia did exactly what they were supposed to do. And the only hope was to attack with a Stoutland and hope that the opponent was not able to draw something out of the Marnie. But as we all know, Lostbox has so many resources all the time, so many possibilities, so many combinations. It's just insane, right? It's just insane. So I think that Mirage is still there. Exactly. Mirage is there. The energies are there. So Rayquaza is just going to attack. Even if you wanted to, you could use Oranguru to put one grass in the deck again and use Mirage Gate. So easy. For an easy knockout for Rayquaza, all that you need to do is to attach the right energies to it. GG's for those 3 opponents. More than enough damage. And Rayquaza gets the final KO on Stoutland. And we have, ladies and gentlemen, a Light Night winner. That is it. Wow. It was definitely a wild ride. this has been a very intense. I think this has been a very intense matchup. I think it was very well played for both players. It was, as I said, I think it was a bit of a pity that Lugia was not able to set up properly because there were some key turns in which they couldn't find the things that they wanted to, and this clearly affected the outcome of the game. Nevertheless, this is the perfect, in my view, this is the perfect representation of where things stand right now in terms of the format. So, of course, Lugia is dominating, is continuously dominating. Lost Zone still can beat Lugia and other decks, but if it draws what they need to draw. So I think that for the remainder of the format, until Scarlet and Violet comes, we are going to be seeing these two decks a lot. So any sort of Lost Zone variant, Lugia keep being played in the highest of the percentages in the tournaments. But that's it. Let me know what you thought about the. Let me know what you thought about the game and how everything went for you, and also any type of feedback that you might want to share with me. I know that we had some major technical issues in this stream. As I said before, when I first started, this is the first time that I do a stream in YouTube. Well, I don't think that this has to do with YouTube. I think it's more with the program that I'm using to stream anyways. At least we were able to kind of save things and stream correctly what we needed. And wait, is there another? Did I miss something? We have another game here. So this is the finals. Okay, finals. Let's go. So let me confirm you what we are going against. So I think it's Lugia against Lost Box Rayquaza once again. Interesting. So 2 Battle VIP passes are now in the opening hand. I think this is pretty much what you can wish for. Maybe you want also a Colress, but Colress should come with time. And this not only allows you to see exactly what you want, what you have, all the resources that you have, but also to set up your field perfectly. The key for this matchup, as we have been seeing, is whether Lost Box is able to draw the cards that they need in the order that they need, whether Lugia is able to disrupt their resources via Marnie, and also if Lugia is able to pull off a very quick attack with maybe something like Raikou that will allow to take multiple prizes at the same time. Anyways, so the priority here for Lost Box is to set up at least a couple of confies, I would say. So to make sure that you send at least 2 or 3 cards to the Lost Zone and keep things going. Then Greninja will be used to draw some extra cards. Greninja here is the perfect draw engine, mainly because, well, I mean, you want cards in the discard zone. And a second Battle VIP pass will be played, maybe getting a Oranguru. Oranguru seems a pretty safe choice. And I wonder if they are going to leave one spot free, or they will go... No. So it seems that they are grabbing another Comfy because of the net, I would imagine. Because of the net, yes. Because of the net. So flower selecting... yeah, maybe you want to keep the net because Sableye is not that relevant. I mean, it is relevant, but 1 is more than enough, especially considering that they ran 2 copies of Ordinary Rod, and that's it. So they are saving the nets, and Oranguru has been used defensively to put Colress on the top of the deck in case that the opponent decides to Marnie. Now, what are we seeing here? Ooh, Flying Pikachu! That's huge! So, Flying Pikachu is one of the biggest counters that certain decks have in the format, mainly Regigigas and friends. But also, it really gives a lot of problems to decks like Lost Zone because it blocks any of your attackers. If you think about it, the only generic attacker that Lost Box runs that can do any damage to Flying Pikachu is Sableye. and one of them has already been sent to the Lost Zone. Now, of course, that does not mean that Flying Pikachu is completely immune to the attacks, because there can be a well-timed combination of Escape Rope plus Boss's Orders. With Escape Rope, you eliminate the protection that Flying Pikachu gets, and Boss's Orders puts it back into the active position, and it's easy to get a KO, especially with so many lightning attackers that this deck runs, like Raikou and Raikou V. And I think that's probably the route of play that we will be seeing at some point. Anyways, it was interesting that Luminion here was used to grab Professor's Research instead of Marnie, but it is because they prioritized setting up and not disrupting the hand. The problem is that I think 2 Aurora's energies are already in the discard pile, which might complicate things for the long term, but let's see. So Flower Selecting had been used, then we are going to be seeing a couple of nets, and we might even get to see a Mirage Gate attack this turn. So that's a difficult choice, but well, you already have one Colressing in hand, so I think that it's safe to pick the Raikou here. And I wonder then what is going to be the play, because Lugia, considering that there is no dance bars protecting Lugia, is going to be an easy prey for anything that can hit for lightning weakness. So I wonder if the attacker of choice will be Raikou or Raikou V. Remember that the 2 versions of Raikou are being played right now. So Comfy gets 1 energy, sends 1 Quick Ball to the Lost Zone. Another Comfy seems to be now about to be played. Yes, that is the case. There is still, I think, 1 energy left to reach the magic number of 7. That opens the possibility to attack with basically anything that you want. So let's see, because there are different, as I was saying, there are different possibilities that Lost Zone Rayquaza can go for. So either we can play passively, or they just go for a big attack or for a big KO. And Boss's Orders, of course, was prioritized because that's what is going to give you the possibility to survive or to get over Flying Pikachu's lock. So I don't know why, but I feel that Raikou is the weapon of choice here. Pretty interesting. And it's going to be immediately powered up by the copy of Mirage Gate that is already standing in the hand of the player. Remember also that Raikou V has an interesting ability that I always forget to use, but it does have it, which allows you to draw 1 card once per turn. So I guess that this is something that they will use as well. Interestingly enough, another scary attacker has been benched. I guess it is a way to scare a bit, or to show your cards to your opponent, but as well to prepare things, right? And also because you are going to be using a Mirage Gate. Ooh, only 2 energies left on the deck, so not a lot. No, not a lot. Definitely not a lot. So yeah, an energy will be attached to Raikou. Then Colress is probably, I think Colress or Boss's Orders. Okay, so Boss's Orders is going to go into the top of the deck, and well, the KO gets used. Again, the KO gets taken. I was wondering why the ability from Raikou was not used. Maybe, I don't know, they already had everything that they needed in hand. So Flying Pikachu V gets promoted. We see it now evolves into Flying Pikachu V Max, which was the worst nightmare in the times that Palkia was one of the most relevant decks. And by the way, remember that Radiant Pikachu Pikachu VMAX is still our world champions. Anyways, Lugia V-Star uses its ability. We now see 2 Archeops being placed onto the bench. Pretty straightforward, and this is what you want to see when you play Lugia, of course. Now, the question is, the situation is as follows. So probably the attacker here is going to be Flying Pikachu. and it won't pick the KO on Raikou because it has 200 HP, I believe. So Raikou will survive. Now, remember that Flying Pikachu puts kind of a shield around that prevents all the damage done by basic Pokemon. And the only way, as I was saying before, is you have two options here. You either ignore Flying Pikachu and start getting KOs via escape ropes and Sableye damage counters, or you use a combination of escape rope plus Boss's orders at the same time on Pikachu to KO, to get the KO. So let's see what Lost Zone is going to do here. I don't see them having access anytime soon. Well, maybe Greninja will give them... This is very interesting, and this is a game-changing moment, because maybe Greninja will give the escape rope. And no, it doesn't. It doesn't. Now, the problem is, what do you do at this situation? Do you kind of just ignore Flying Pikachu and use Boss's orders to get an easy KO on Lugia VMAX? But then how do you get the remainder of the prizers? Do you get them via Sableye? Or is there another possibility? I don't know. Or maybe with Raikou and a combination of Sableye? Or do you save the Boss's orders and wait for you to have an opportunity to draw into it with to draw into escape rope in the next turns? That's a decision that has to be made. That's a decision that has to be made right now. So let's see. Ranguru is going to put Raihan on the top. Okay. Still no escape rope. So Boss's orders going to... Yeah, because I understand Lugia and Luminion are so tempting staying there, and so very... It's so easy and so... You see that you can easily get 2 prizes and that you will only need to draw 2 more, that you are very tempted to do that. But the problem, the only fear that I have is long-term, how this is going to affect the matchup. True, that you can still target Luminium down with Sableye, and 2 attacks from Sableye will do that. I am excited for Superior Energy Retrieval, of course. I played during the Blastoise Keldeo era. But anyways, going back to the commentary, I think that what is imperative from Lugia is Marnie. Marnie needs to come in play now, or if not, or well, that's even better than Marnie. Come on, like Roxanne. And Roxanne messes up the entire strategy, because remember that Raihan was put on the top of the deck, and now this can give Lugia so much space, so much time, the time that they needed to come back into this game. Roxanne, in fact, is like the perfect comeback card. I know that we have all faced these players that played that, and we have all used Roxanne, and they have drawn the exact combination of cards that they needed. But still, this Roxanne could be huge. Let's see. Okay, so Comfy was able to pick a Colress. Okay, Colress is now going to give a breath, some fresh air to Lost Zone here. And that might be the end of Lugia's dream. Still, they need to find a way to attack. So the 2 possibilities to attack here are either with Sableye or with Raikou, or nothing, it seems, because this does not provide any chances, do they? Raikou does not need a generic energy, and Sableye requires a psychic energy. It's true that maybe Capture Energy could be a very good choice here, because you can still discard it with Greninja. So, but maybe I am missing something, and maybe what they are going to do is to prioritize. Maybe they are going to prioritize the Quick Ball to set up something. So I think that here, considering that Escape Rope has been played, we might see Cramorant attacking this turn. And Cramorant will either... Now, that's a difficult situation because what do you promote? Either you promote the Archeops or you promote the Luminion. Luminion has the advantage of having the possibility of healing itself via Aqua Return. So technically, you won't need to worry about it getting damaged. The problem if you do that is that you are already freeing up your opponent from the Radiant Pikachu lock. And that's something, I think that's the win condition that you have here, right? So it makes sense that Archeops is promoted also because it only requires 1 energy to retreat. So let's say Oranguru gets used. Mirage can be very important in this situation. In fact, it can even win the Lost Zone can even win the game next turn if it hits the right combination of cards. Another Luminous... Oh, please tell me that there is another Roxanne in the deck. No! It would have been so cool to see double Roxanne in the finals. No, but it is clear that there is only one copy here. So Boss's Order was grabbed, and Raikou, which was clearly a problem, it was going to become a problem next turn, has now gone to the discard pile. Now, this definitely changes how to approach this matchup. I think, another Colress. Well, actually, those Comfies are fire. Those Comfies are hitting some nice cards. I think that the plan here is to target down the Archeops. So Sableye can do it pretty easily, but you will need to recycle Sableye at some point. So yes, I don't think that Radiant Rayquaza is... Well, maybe... No, probably Radiant Rayquaza is not worth picking because you already have the Rod if you wanted to. Well, maybe yes, because you want to attack with it into something that your opponent puts into the active position and you have Escape Rope. Maybe that's it. So, Colress experiment, deciding what to grab here. So, Rayquaza, the Rod, and the right hand. The second Escape Rope, it seems that it's going to be played here. Maybe trying to lure out the second Archeops. Yeah, maybe this is already putting a lot of pressure onto Lugia. Because again, like the situation is exactly the following. What do you promote? If you promote Luminion, then you are renouncing to your Flying Pikachu lock. But if you don't, I think that's the smartest choice. You want to absorb all the damage by that already wounded Archeops and take the attack from Cramorant. So I think, well, there are still some options. If Rayquaza doesn't want to attack with Cramorant, it can still attack with Sableye. There is a possibility to do that. So let's see after that what is the decision that they take. It seems that Ordinary Road is going to be played or not. There are plenty of energies already and plenty of attackers, so I don't exactly know. The thing with Lost Zone is that it's not a straightforward deck. It's more like a toolbox kind of deck. So the challenge about playing this type of a strategy is to understand what to do at what point and when do you need to be using certain attacks or certain abilities. As you see, you can either attack with Cramorant, you can attack with Rayquaza, you can attack with basically whatever you want. So yes, Pikachu is immune to attacks from basic Pokemon, but as I was explaining at the beginning, all that this deck runs is basic Pokemon, so very effectively. So this is very effectively countering Lost Zone. So what was played, nevertheless, was the energy recycling. Maybe that hints the fact that we are going to be seeing Mirage Gate now. I don't know. but could be. So Sableye gets benched, and Mirage Gate is going to be used for just one energy, I would imagine, onto the Sableye, if that is correct. So let's see. The player, of course, checking all the possibilities and making sure that that everything is correct. And there we go. So it didn't fall for the Archeops bait, and it's just going to go ahead and use Lost Mine. So KOing the Archeops, and I think that yes. So the remaining counters will be placed in the other Archeops, and for the next turn, it is as easy, more or less, it is as easy as to get another Sableye, and that's it. And you basically win you basically win the game. And by the way, you have Raihan on hand plus the ordinary rod, so that basically guarantees it, because you can use. Well, no, you first need to do something else. But you have Comfy, you have Greninja, so there are quite some possibilities. To be honest, there are quite some possibilities. Let's see. I would love, as I was saying, I would love to see a second Roxanne or something that disrupts the hand. If the thing is that if the opponent Roxanne's now, it could be very, very, very interesting, because it will get rid, or there will be no way to easily access the rod. And we know that the second copy of Sableye has already been sent to the Lost Zone. So things can get crazy. Things can get crazy here. And it seems that we are going to see... Oh, Marnie! I called it! So Marnie. Okay. Very, very, very crucial moment of the game. Oh, but Raihan now, a second Raihan has been drawn, which was not that easy because there were a lot of energies there. So I think that Comfy needs to be promoted into the active position. The path is also going to be shutting down. Amazing to be shutting down Greninja. Please remember that I've been casting for so many hours now, and it's difficult to remember the names. So now the problem is that if they want to win this turn, so if Lost Zone wants to win this turn, they need to pull. I think that they need to pull Sableye attack here, but I don't see, unless I am missing something. I am not sure if I see how. I don't see the possibility of them getting it now, unless they use, I don't know, they use Oranguru, and Oranguru gives them one of the missing pieces. That's the only way I see that happening. So Battle VIP Pass is not going to be used, of course, because it cannot be used. How cool it would be. And I think that we are just going to see a retreat and pass. Not much left to do in this situation. Yeah, maybe Cramorant will take the hit. Remember that Pikachu is just sitting there, hanging, eating popcorn, and seeing everything, basically. Yeah, he needs to recover the Sableye, absolutely. The thing is that we know that the only recycling option that he had was the Super Rod, and Super Rod had been sent to the bottom of the deck because of Marnie. So maybe what is going to happen is that Raihan will be used to grab the Super Rod. Yes, that's it. So Raihan will be used to grab the Super Rod. That's it. And now there needs to be a very strategic decision of what to pick, because you of course don't want to recycle more cards than the ones that you actually need, because that way you will have more possibilities to draw into Sableye next turn. So yeah, I think this is right. So just one Sableye and Raikou. So Raikou maybe because he's planning to attack with Raikou and Mirage. Maybe the energies were already were enough to pull off a Raikou attack. maybe that's something that I'm missing with the Oranguru and everything. So, well, yeah, let's see. Maybe they are going to sacrifice. I don't know if they're going to pass the turn or if they will retreat. No, nothing gets retreated. So that means that probably Cramorant is going to take the hit. And let's see what happens here. Let's see. So Ultra Ball gets played, maybe to thin out a little bit the deck. I don't think that Lugia runs any more Luminions, so I don't think there is a chance to see another supporter being played or being grabbed. Now, this is huge, but they don't have the possibility to recycle their energy. So it's true that if there were enough Aurora energies, this could already seal the game, but this was not the case, so Ultra Ball was just used to thin out the game, and this is the moment of truth. I think that there are a lot of possibilities from Lost Box to get the KO. Oh, no! No, wait, how bad, like, Sableye and the energy. Okay, there is still a chance, but if they want to get it, Oranguru needs to give them the stadium. So Oranguru needs to give them the stadium. That's all that is left, I think. Oof. What an unfortunate Comfy. If the Oranguru gives them the stadium, they basically win. Or Raihan. And Raihan also gives them the stadium, so they win. Okay, whew. I really thought that they wouldn't have it. Oh, or there was one of them in the... So there was one in the discard pile. Anyway, so Raihan wins the game for Lost Zone. It was actually closer than I expected. It was a very, very nerve-wracking matchup. It was all decided, but that Oranguru, and it's true that they had possibilities, but also it was very, very unlucky the fact that they didn't get that they had to get rid of the energy. But well, very well played for both players. Now Amazing Rayquaza leading the race 1-0. So believe in the heart of the cards. That's it. So when you believe in the heart of the cards, they will do what you want them to do. No, just joking. So let's go into game number 2. I was really considering the possibility that Lost Zone could lose the game. And that is pretty impressive considering how aggressive they started and how many prizes they drew before Lugia even started attacking. So, seems that Lugia is going to start. Now, what it's going to be key is to see how quickly Radiant Pikachu is going to start attacking. Because on the first game, we saw Pikachu VMAX attacking in turn 3, I believe. But let's see. So, not much from Lugia. It seems only 3 energies in the 3 energies, 2 of them lightning ones. That's not exactly what you want to see when you play a Hisuian Heavy Ball, but there is no other choice. And Lugia also didn't seem to have the best start ever. It's true that they opened with a Lugia, which is good, but only a lone attachment. I think that Oranguru is going to be grabbed here, or was the fighting energy priced as well? No, maybe not. So the good thing is that with double Comfy and with the scoop up nets, it is easy now to access your supporters, like the one that we see here, Colress Experiment, that will probably give some Battle VIP passes, or maybe not. Well, still not, but it's good. You are already sending at least 4 cards, I will say, to the Lost Zone. And this is absolutely huge and crucial. You can even get a turn 1 Cramorant attack. And the only problem that I see with that is that the Ordinary Rod is going to be sent to the Lost Zone, which can be then very important to recycle your energies. But let's see what happens. There is a bit of hesitating here whether to get the rod or the energy. And I know that this is not an easy choice. I completely get it. I think because I am more like a conservative player, I might want to keep the rod, but this is not like a white or black type of decision. So already, I think that, 4 cards already in the Lost Zone, most of which are precisely energy cards, 3 energy cards. And so, yeah, that's probably going to be it. Another energy will be sent to the discard pile, and we are going to see a Cramorant attacking. Now, Manaphy is gone, which could open the possibility for a Raikou play at some point, and Oranguru will probably put, well, I don't know what you want to put on the top of your deck, because none of the cards that you have are really going to make a difference, at least short term. Maybe the Escape Rope. Yeah. So how many Mirage gates do you want? Answer, yes. That's basically it. Oh my god. Anyways, so Lugia gets evolved. Now, it is very important for Lugia to set up the Archeops right now. And they need to set up Flying Pikachu as soon as possible if they want to have chances to win. By the way, you have a quick survey that you can participate in of who you think is going to win. Okay, so 2 Archeops are already in the discard pile. That, of course, is going to allow Lugia to use its ability and to start powering up different attackers. I guess that the first KO is going to be picked by Lugia itself, and the next ones will be followed by Flying Pikachu. Another very important factor that will make a difference if we compare it to the game that we saw before is that no Aurora energies have been sent to the discard pile. So potentially that opens the play of a Raikou, or it opens the play of maybe even Charizard, but I think that Raikou is definitely the scariest attacker that Lugia can bring to take the last 2 prizes. So, Comfy, now the Lost Zone, so Rayquaza is a bit stuck. It's a bit stuck because, as you see, it has basically all the Mirage gates in the world, 1 rod that is not exactly what you want to see, Sableye that cannot attack because you don't have the energies. Well, you can attack with Sableye if you really wanted to, but at the cost of using one of your very precious Mirage gates. So I don't know. Okay, but Comfy here saves the day, Comfy the hero, giving a Colrex experiment. Okay, now things change a little bit because we can see there are different things, there are different options. So maybe we can see an attack from Raikou getting the KO on Lugia. Maybe we can see a Radiant Rayquaza, but if you consider the amount of resources that you invest, so, or maybe not. So maybe we are not going to see a KO this turn. Let's see what happens here. Let's see what happens here. So right hand, maybe we are going to see a Raikou, amazing Raikou. Or let's see. Okay, so Raikou V was finally picked, which on the one hand, it's true that it's a very cost-efficient attacker because you know that it's going to get the KO on Lugia for only 2 energies. But on the other hand, it is giving Lugia 2 prizes. So if Lugia takes those 2 prizes, then Flying Pikachu gets another prize. And there are enough Aurora energies in the deck. Raikou can finish everything off. So let's see what happens here. I think that maybe the safest attacker would be Raikou. Not the VMAX, not the V, sorry. But let's see. Also, I have the feeling like the Lost Zone Rayquaza player is like constantly living on the edge, in the sense that they always draw the follow-up supporter via Comfy. but until they use flower picking, there is no way to know what they are going to do. Another possibility here could be to play escape rope. So let's see. Let's see what happens. Sableye gets bench, it seemed. And maybe we are going to see a second, yes. So we see a second Mirage Gate coming to, of course, maximize the potential of it since it attaches to energies. And now it saves the escape ropes and Reiko is going to pick the KO and deal some damage. Now, the question is, where do you put the damage counters? Onto the Archeops? Yes. So I think the strategy that we are going to be seeing here is, once again, ignoring Flying Pikachu. You can touch it, okay, no worries, I can still go for something that you have on your bench. So that's basically going to be it. Now, let's see if we see... Oh, so Flying Pikachu hits the field, and this is massive. This is exactly what I was talking about, that Raikou can become a real menace here. And I think that this can be absolutely problematic because it will get 2 prizes and then... Oh, and this is even worse. Well, not exactly worse because the hand was not that good, to say at least, but it definitely puts into a challenging situation. So let's see what Marnie gives the Lost Zone player, because I think that both Raikou and Sableye are going to go down. And this even sets down Radiant Greninja, which has not been benched yet. But let's see. So Sableye and Comfy. And the problem is, and this is a big one, that if the if Rayquaza is not able to respond this turn to Raikou, the game is probably over. The game is probably over. That's basically it. Fortunately, it was so 2 supporters were drawn, Colress Experiment and Raihan. And let's see what is played here. Maybe, well, Colress Experiments gives more possibilities, but Raihan also gives exactly what you need. So let's see. Okay, Flower Selecting, gets an Air Balloon, which is very nice. Okay, and getting rid of 1 Battle VIP Pass. Now, what's the play? That's the thing. What's the play? How do you get rid? You need to get rid of that Raikou. If you want to win this game, you need to get rid of Raikou. You cannot let that Raikou survive. So they are going for the safe choice. And the safe choice seems to be none other than Raihan. But then, what is the attacker of choice? Is it going to be a Cramorant? Maybe it's Cramorant, right? Because I don't see any other basic Pokemon being able to attack with the hand that they have. So, yes, Cramorant is going to be grabbed from the prize cards. Hisui and Heavy Ball doing its job, which is good. And then at least there is a chance to come back into this game. Still not the best one, but we can say some things. And I think that Boss's Orders has not been used. Okay, so now I would imagine that we are going to see an attack from Flying Pikachu, and that was a nice draw from the prize cards, because now you can be less... You can have more options to attack with your attackers, because of course the Lightning Energy was used. Okay, so Radiant Pikachu attacks. Only 2 prizes remaining for Lugia, 3 remaining for Lost Box. I think that Colress is going to be used. Well, maybe first Oranguru or not. So Colress is going to be used. Easy choices here. So it looks like the 4th copy of Colress is going to be sent to the Lost Zone, as well as the Battle VIP Pass, and what was it? Yes, and the Battle VIP Pass. So prioritizing a way to search Pokemon. And then don't forget that we still have the Flower Selecting ability that it's probably going to send. Well, well, maybe your Anguru could have been used to send a Battle VIP pass, or maybe that's something that you want to discard with the Quick Ball. Maybe that's it. And then what to do here? What to do here? Because the only attacker that you have in this situation is Sableye, but I don't think that, because there are no energies, is there a way to attack? Well, maybe actually being 3 prices down, what you can do in this type of situation is to try to save your resources, maybe promote something that you don't care about, like Greninja, and to save your resources to get a final combination of Rayquaza or Raikou, plus the Boss's Orders that is already in hand, plus the Escape Rope. And with that, you seal the game. But you have 2 turns to do it. That's the thing. And I think that that's basically what the strategy that Lost Zone needs to follow now. So, we see the timer running out. That always gives me anxiety, by the way, whenever the timer starts the countdown. I feel that Comfy needs to retreat. Yes, because that's the primary source of drawing cards. Isn't that a bit... I mean, I understand this, because this is like some sort of all or nothing type of play. If the opponent has Boss's Orders, well, it still cannot KO Raikou unless it has something like Radiant Charizard and the last energy. But I don't think they have it. Okay, that's fine. And if they are doing what I think they are going to do, this is going to be very, very smart, which is trying to prevent the combo, or not? Or no, wait, do they have it? Wait. Do they have the KO? Oh, they have the KO! So 4... Oh my god, 4 powerful energies into the Archeops. Well, I was not expecting that. Oh my god. That was such a steal. We have been discussing earlier that Archeops is actually a very powerful attacker that can even KO some V Pokemon out of the blue if there are enough energies on the deck. And this was the perfect example of how this works. I mean, wow. I am very, very happy that we are getting to see and to enjoy these amazing finals, because this was definitely something that I was kind of contemplating the Boss's Orders, but I don't know why. I thought that maybe we would see another attacker, maybe not with Archeops, but it would have been easier to target it down with a basic Lugia V or even a Southland, right? But wow. Anyways, very, very, very cool and interesting movement to seal the game. As I was saying, benching the Raikou V was a bit risky, but at the same time it was a bet, and you had to take it. You were basically telling your opponent, look, if you have Boss's Orders and a lot of powerful energies, you win the game. But if you don't, next turn, I'm probably going to be able to pull combination of Boss's Orders and Escape Rope, and I'm going to win the game. So, and sometimes you just have to assume those risks. That's what this is about. This is a game, and sometimes the bet pays off, and sometimes it doesn't. But well, I'm glad that we are going to see a third and decisive game. And yep, there we start. So, Lugia versus Lost Box. Who's going to win? So in this case, Lost Box starts, and Sableye is the Pokemon that gets placed into the active position, of course, because it only has, I think, 1 retreat cost. The Battle VIP Pass is going to allow to set up pretty nicely, probably grabbing a couple of Comfys. We see that the Raikou is there, Raikou V is priced, and what else is priced? Well, I cannot see everything right now, but so all the Mirage are there, which is also pretty interesting. One Raihan is priced, and probably some energies are priced. I think that one Steel Energy must be on the prices as well, because the grass is already on hand, and there are 2 of the others, except for Lightning Energies. So, Radiant Green Ninja will discard the grass energy, and how many? So we see, I was going to ask, how many capture energies do you want? It doesn't matter because you got them all. So maybe this will grab either Oranguru, I think, or Comfy. Oranguru is usually, I think it's preferred in this type of situations, just because it can help you. It is like Marnie proof. And now this is an interesting choice, because do you grab the Manaphy or do you set up even farther? I think that Manaphy is better in this situation. We saw that actually the way in which Lugia won the last game was because Manaphy had not been benched. It was decided to it was decided that it should go to the Lost Zone. And yes, Oranguru here protecting the owner from Marnie. How I'm going to miss Oranguru so much. But at the same time, I think that I'm not going to miss Marnie. So, well, let's see. Lugia discards 1 Punkaboo that is probably not going to be used at all during this matchup. Benches 1 Lugia, and we need to see Archeops going down. Archeops getting discarded. So capture energy. Let's see what... Maybe it's going to be a Raikou. Let's see what happens here. And I think that maybe then the choice that Lugia needs to make is what it's going to allow to be on the active position, because Pikachu can easily go down because of Raikou, and so can, well, but so can Lugia itself. So Lugia, it's clear that cannot go into the active spot. So it just passes the turn. Okay, interesting. It just passes the turn. And here, possibilities are open for Lost Zone, because if Raikou V is not priced, it can pull an easy KO, as Flying Pikachu is weak to Lightning. Then, if you really wanted to, I guess that you could attack with Radiant Rayquaza, but then you will need to invest 3 energies, and that might not be exactly what you need. And what would be even better if you can get access to your boss's orders, you just boss orders the Lugia and you basically win the game. But of course, that's not very likely. So that's why Colress gets played instead. So energies being prioritized, and 1 Radiant Rayquaza is going to be sent to the Lost Zone. I think that it's very important to not to get rid of your escape ropes, because they, as you see, they helped you not exactly overcome the lock of Flying Pikachu, but at least to hit something. And this is, of course, very important. So, Comfy getting used. I didn't see exactly what were the two choices. So, let's see. Colress and Mirage. This is a difficult one, because on the one hand you need the resources that Colress provides, but on the other, not using all your Mirage gates can also be an issue in late game. But yeah, I agree that maybe Colress is safer. And I think it's better to play it safe here. So now the question is, as we have been repeating for some time now, what is going to be the attacker of choice? So the capture energy will get attached to Comfy, and we are going to now see, maybe it is, I was going to suggest Raikou, but maybe it's not Raikou. Maybe it's another thing. Let's see. Or maybe it's right. It seems that there is a debate between Raikou or Cramorant. And also deciding whether to bench Cramorant or not. And in the end, it does. So maybe we say a Speed Innocently. Okay, so Speed Innocently and Prevent Wisdom, protecting the Marnie play still. And we're going to say yes, one attack, and that's it. So probably what's going to happen now is that this Flying Pikachu will never ever evolve. And that's it. And won't be touched. But on the other hand, it is already damaged, so it can be easily finished by a Sableye. We see an Ultra Ball. Now, I was going to say a Strong Energy, but that's so old school. Oh my god, Strong Energy. A Powerful Energy gets discarded. Lugia hits the field, and probably this is going to send another Archops to the... No, a Boss's Orders. So will we see a Marnie here? No, we see a Raikou. Okay, so I like that. Actually, this is the best probably time to use Raikou, mainly because Manaphy is not on the field, and the player has decided to prioritize other attackers and Comfys and things like that instead of Manaphy. So let's see, I wonder how many Archops. I guess that there must be at least 2 Archops in the discard pile. One has gone for sure, and the other, yes, perfect. So Lugia, V-Star ability, and now Archops using one of the strongest abilities that we've seen in the game so far by attaching special energy cards, and Raikou is going to attack. Now the targets could be either Sableye or the other Raikou. So I think that those are the choices. Or Comfy. Okay, Comfy, because it's kind of relying on the opponent not having anything. And it understands that, yeah, and also because it forces to promote something that maybe you don't want. So good thing is that Colress was saved for this situation. So that's going to give some very welcome resources. And in this case, the lack of a stadium might be very important in the long term, but I also think that the Balloon and the Scoop Up Net are important cards. So maybe we are going to see a Comfy here, or just a Escape Rope, and let's see what happens here. Because there are different things that are going on at the very same time. So you absolutely need to KO Raikou. That's what you need to do. Again, you cannot allow Raikou to survive and to attack you other turn, because basically you lose the game. Then you want to also kind of set up. So I think that the only attacker that can take Raikou down is Sableye. And the good thing is that the corresponding energy is already on hand. So probably what we are going to see here is Flower Picking, then an attachment of the tool, a retreat, an attack from Sableye, a Lost Mine, targeting the or not. Maybe I am missing something. Or maybe he didn't have enough cards for Sableye to attack. Maybe that was it. Yeah, maybe I assumed that. I don't know why I assumed that every time Lost Box hits the turn 3, they already have 10 cards in the Lost Zone. And maybe that's not the case. So maybe it's all about trying to accelerate as much as you can to get it. No, and I think there are only 8. You're right. I think there are only 8. So a lot of Comfys shenanigans here to try to get. So 1, 2, I didn't see it, but I feel that there must be around 9. A lot of Comfy shenanigans, but again, like if you don't hit something now and Raikou attacks, oof. Okay, Mirage. Ooh, that was absolutely crucial. That was absolutely crucial. That was the top deck that can change everything and basically save the game. So it was a top deck. Now I think that they are going to recycle some energies and attack with Raikou. And also they still have, do they have the manual attachment? I think they do. Yes, I think they have the manual attachment. So, and Raikou is going to go down, and also, which is very key, one Archops is also going to go down. And that, like, that's something that I love about this format, is how when you think that the game has already been decided, or that one player is such in a bad spot, then suddenly everything changes. And as you see, Raikou, I think that Raikou is going to be targeted down, and Archops will also be KO'd because of the weakness that it has. And now it kind of it limits the amount of options that Lugia has. So amazing burst, attacking and getting 2 prizes. Wow, that was insane. That was insane. And right hand from the discard, from the prize cards. So that's also very, very important. Also, don't forget that Lugia is playing Roxanne, and that can be huge. Now, the problem with Roxanne is that normally by the time that you activate it, you're already, some players have already thinned out their deck so much that it doesn't really affect them. But let's see. So Serena is used here to draw some cards. Archops had been used to accelerate energies, and we see an attack from Pikachu. Get enough damage to get the KO, and let's see what happens here. I think, well, right hand is probably going to be used. Now, Radiant Greninja is still open, so there are a bunch of things that can happen. Again, remember that this Pikachu cannot be targeted down, and getting 4 prizes doesn't look that easy. So I think that the Lost Zone player needs to be patient. Basically, they need to be patient. So Concealed card is going to be used. So it draws some cards. Comfy can still be used if it really wanted to. And in fact, there are 2 Comfies that could be used, but I think that you want to attack here. Also, like how cool it would be if you were able to just get rid of that lone Archops on the opponent field. But let's see. It's not an easy decision. Right hand, of course, is the supporter that is going to be played, and energy will be attached to Sableye, and maybe that's it. Maybe all that you need to do is to focus your energy on the Flying Pikachu, on the one that is damaged on the bench. I don't know. I've seen some recent Lugia decks that ran Bolus. I think the name is Bolus, right? You know, that supporter that lets you get rid of some of your benched Pokemon. So it would be very funny, actually, if you put a lot of effort into almost KOing one big VMAX only for them to leave the field, just like that. But I don't think, or it can also leave the field via collapsed stadium, but I don't think that is the case. So let's see. As we were saying, so Sableye had been powered up by right hand, and then an energy gets discarded. Maybe we're going to see here a Radiant an Amazing Rayquaza, or a Cramorant. Well, there are not many options left, to be honest. And Manaphy is not worth at this point because Raikou is never going to come back. So let's see what happens here. I think maybe Rayquaza, I don't know. Depends on what you want to do. So the choice is between Rayquaza and Cramorant. Okay, so Cramorant in the end is left on the field. Oranguru will put something in the top of the deck, in this case the Scoop Up Net. so so much time deciding whether to go for one or the other, only to have the two of them in your hand. Okay, that's fine. Sableye is going to attack. Now, I am really curious to see where it's going to put the damage counters. And it seems that it is going to target Flying Pikachu, the max. So I think that the play, or that the route here, is kind of like acknowledging that if you KO the Flying Pikachu VMAX, and if you KO the Archeops, you win the game. What I wonder is if you will have time to do so before Flying Pikachu gets all the prizes. Only 3 attacks is separating Lugia from becoming the late night champions. The late night champion. And as I said, we also know, and that's something that we need to consider, that Roxanne is a thing. So Marnie gets played again in an attempt to disrupt. Now, of course, the opponent didn't know, but the hand was not precisely good. In fact, the one that they have now is even better. Is even better than the one that we're leaving. But it's true that I think there were a couple of Mirage Gates. Anyways, so another Flying Pikachu gets powered. Oh, and in this case, what did it get attached? It might be considering attacking with the Flying Pikachu that is damaged. So Comfy is it's played. The Hisuian Heavy Ball can give something interesting if it is played, but first Comfy. So I think that Energy Recycler needs to be grabbed, and yeah, possibly the energies. So this is very important. Now, I don't know if there is still another Super Rod to get Sableye back, or the amount of Sableyes, because I remember. So one Sableye is there. Was the other one in the Lost Zone? No, so there must be. So the other Sableye is either on the deck or in the prizes, in which case it will be, or it should be able to be grabbed with the Hisuian Heavy Ball. So let's see what happens here. So flower selecting, getting that Mirage. Yes, Mirage is going to be preferred in this situation, I feel. There are still energies in the deck, and we are still, the player, I mean, still have access to recycle a lot of energy cards. So in this type of situations is where you start kind of sometimes regretting the choices that you had to make at the beginning of your game. But that's this, well, not the same, but this very famous quote of, with great power comes great responsibility. So I think that it defines very well what Lost Box does, in the sense that with great power comes great sacrifice, if you know what I mean. So I think that the energy needs to be picked if they want to attack with Sableye. Only 4 cards remaining, and this is going to get them at Sableye, I would imagine. Yes. So, Boss's Order is priced, and also the Rod is priced. That can be very bad. Very bad. Because now you can get a KO, and you can get a KO on the Archeops. That for sure. You can, if you really want to, you can get a KO on the Archeops. Prizes. How do you get the remaining 3 prizes? So a bunch of energies are now back into the deck, and I think that we're just going to see a Lost Mine. Oranguru would probably save the right hand, if I am not mistaken. Yes, so right hand, another, well, that's good. So another energy that you don't have to worry about. And Sableye is going to attack, and probably, I think that, yeah, I don't know. So it directly goes it goes for the Flying Pikachu, and it gets the KO. That's more than fine. So it gets the KO. So now the question is, can Lugia somehow avoid Sableye from getting the victory here? We know that they play Roxanne, so maybe Roxanne is what can save them this time. But honestly, all that they need to do is to get Sableye, get an energy, and that's it. So, oof, very tense moments. Very, very, very tense moments. Yeah. I know that this is getting highly favored but for the Lost Zone player. And yes, so basically I think this is GG because they are going to draw into the right hand. And they have the Mirage Gate, they have Oranguru, they basically have everything. And I guess that if they really want it, they must have one escape rope remaining. So they can recycle Sableye if they want, and then use the Mirage Gate to attach some energies to it. So yeah, the game is over. It was well fought by Lugia, but so Sableye proved to be very, very, very powerful. So it is attaching the energies to Reiko, and with the boss's orders, it can easily target down Archeops, and that's it. The final attack, Lightning Rondo, and we already have the champions. The champion of the European Late Night Series. Woo! Wow. So 2-1. This is a really good example, I feel. Oops, let me put myself where I should. I think this was a really, really good example of how the matchup between Lost Zone and Rayquaza go. It was very interesting to see everything, and I don't know, what do you think about this? I really enjoyed having the possibility to watch all the amazing games that we had in top 8. It's true that if I have had the possibility, I would have loved to see a bit more of diversity in the games, but I understand, and we have been discussing this at the beginning, that this is a Lugia-dominated format, and this time Lugia didn't win, but it was very close to. And also, Lugia can be paired with different attackers that help in different situations. In this case, we saw Lugia with Flying Pikachu. That was a really interesting call to counter Regigigas, and also to counter certain strategies of Lost Box or certain builds of Lost Box. Overall, I really, really enjoyed this. And if you have, of course, any feedback for me and the way that I am casting, this is my first time trying to cast. So you can be as savage as you want. So that's basically it. I'm going to be saying bye-bye. Actually, I haven't drunk anything over the past 3 hours, so I think that I'm going to die of dehydration. But I really hope that you had a pleasant time. By the way, I hope that this is not the last time that you see me casting, especially in the European scene. I know that we had some technical, as I was saying, I know that I messed up a little bit and we had some technical issues at the beginning, but in the end, I am very happy that we got to see practically all the games and that we got to see the finals. I think there were two very interesting decks that faced each other, and I am also happy that the quality of the games that we saw was what we would expect from a tournament as good and as big as the Late Night Series. By the way, in case that you don't know, if you want to participate in the Late Night Series, they are free. All that you need is a BTCGO account, and if you win, you get the chance to compete for a full paid trip to Japan. So how amazing is that? I cannot stress. I would be playing myself, but I decided to be here casting. So again, thanks so much for being here with me and with us. I am going to be now calling it a day. Also because it's quite late for me and I need to, oh my God. And I actually need to wake up pretty early tomorrow morning. So that's it. I really appreciate all of you. Great finals. And please consider subscribing to the YouTube channel to see more quality content and participate in the Late Night Series because they are very, very fun. So thank you so much. Have a nice rest of the day or a nice night, evening, if it's the case of being in Europe, and I will go straight to get some water and to sleep. So thank you so much, and bye-bye!
The Shuffle Squad is proudly sponsored by Atlas Collectibles, the best place to buy any trading card game product online. Visit atlastcg.com and at the checkout screen, make sure to use code TSS12 to save an unbeatable 12% off your entire order. Atlas Collectibles will ship your product anywhere in the world, so make sure you're taking advantage of the 12% savings with TSS12. And if Pokemon is not your thing, don't worry. Go to atlastcg.com and see all the other amazing trading card game products they have there to offer.
The Shuffle Squad is partnered with PTCGO Store to provide our community with the best access to Pokemon TCG codes. They have codes available 24/7, instant email delivery, and you can save 5% off by using code TSS5. If you're a YouTube member or Patreon supporter, you'll have access to a special code that gets you 10% off. So what are you waiting for? Use code TSS5 today and save 5% on your next order of codes on any codes available at ptcgostore.com.
Are you trying to be the best like no one ever was? Now is your time. Head on over to Metafy.gg and search out all our amazing Pokemon TCG coaches, where you can book all sorts of training plans ranging from deck help to full season sessions with your favorite coach. What a great way to up your game. Check out Metafy.gg in the description below and take your game to the next level.
PokeXWord, the best place to get your fill of Pokemon-inspired puzzles. New puzzles are posted every day, and they recently launched a new Guess That Pokemon puzzle, which is a ton of fun to play. Go check them out at PokeXWord.com and be sure to follow them on Twitter for your chance to win a ton of PTCGO codes every month.
Challenge yourself against trainers from around the world to compete for the biggest online prizing yet.
Are you ready for an unbelievable tournament unlike anything else you've ever seen before? The Shuffle Squad is proud to announce our newest tournament series, the Late Night Event, with an amazing grand prize that's bound to have you excited.
Players can compete via play.limitless.tcg.com's online tournament platform every Tuesday to get a chance to earn weekly prizes. And every week, your placement in the tournament is tallied by points based on your best finishes to earn your rank for the Late Night Invitational event.
The series will be conducted starting February 7th of 2023 and carry all the way through to the Invitational on July 9th of 2023, where the top players will be rewarded the grand prizing.
And the grand prize is a signed jersey and photo op with the entire Shuffle Squad, as well as a fully paid trip to the Pokemon World Championships in Yokohama, Japan. This includes hotel and airfare, whether you're a player or a spectator.
Don't forget to check out all the live coverage on our YouTube and Twitch channel of the top cuts of these events for every week. And subscribe so you can get notified where to watch the Late Night Events Invitational, brought to you by the Shuffle Squad. Now get out there and start winning. We'll see you in Japan.